Most people in society are conditioned to not trust in how they feel. How you feel is this unrealistic thing that's not tangible in society. Don't trust your feelings because we need to be realistic, is what most people will tell you in society. Don't feel into your body because you need to be logical. If you don't feel good doing this thing in school, doesn't matter, because we need to make money. We need to be logical. So we're conditioned in society to completely go against our feelings, to go against our intuition. But your intuition is one of the most powerful tools you have in your arsenal to create the life that you really want, to live a life of abundance. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to trust your intuition even when society doesn't want you to. Whether they don't want you to do it consciously with intention, they say, hey, don't follow your intuition, or whether it's just an unconscious assumption that we shouldn't follow our intuition. Whatever the case is, I'm going to be sharing with you how to trust your intuition even when society doesn't want you to. So if you're new to this channel, what I want you to do is I want you to hit that subscribe button. I want you to hit that notification bell because I do post a new video every single day. Also, if you want to work with me one-on-one personally, hit the link that's in the description box of this video to apply for a free consultation. So the first way to trust your intuition even when society doesn't want you to, how to trust your intuition even when society doesn't want you to. It's gonna sound simple, but a lot of people overlook this. The first way to do this is to feel into your body. How do you feel? How do you feel on a consistent basis? You see, in society, how we feel is invalid. How you feel doesn't matter, because if you don't feel good, it doesn't matter because you need to be doing this thing in school that's gonna get you money. That's what most people's parents will tell their kids, like, hey honey, it doesn't matter if you don't feel good. You need to be realistic. And then it's like the child's heart gets broken when they hear that. We're conditioned to go against how we feel. So this is gonna sound simple, but how do you feel? Check in. If you're doing a job right now, if you're in school, not saying there's anything wrong with school, not saying there's anything wrong with working a 9-to-5 job, but the question I'm gonna ask you, and the question that we can ask ourselves is, how do we feel? How do I feel when I'm actually doing this job? You see, I used to do software development and I didn't feel good. I literally would start to notice during my spiritual awakening, so to speak, even though it's very true, there is a spiritual awakening, but that word can be kind of misconstrued. During my process of becoming more conscious and going inwards into myself, what I noticed is that I would literally feel so much anxiety doing something that I hated, like software. And I convinced myself in my own mind that I had to be there, when the truth was, I didn't have to be there. I just wasn't checking in with how I felt in my body. That's the thing. We have these stories in our minds telling us that we have to be doing these things, and then we go against how we feel. Your heart tells you one thing, literally through your feet. It's so simple. How do you feel? There's two paths you can take in life. One path feels good in your body. It gives you like a spiritual high. It gives you a feeling of alignment. It literally raises your frequency. The second option is you feel bad, but your mind says you have to be there. Which path do you choose? Feel into your body and be honest with yourself. Be honest with yourself. Do you feel good right now doing the job that you're working in? Do you feel good right now being in school studying what you're studying? If the answer is no, then I would really invite you to be honest with yourself and just feel into the fact that maybe it's time to let that thing go. I'm not here to tell you what to do and how to live your life, but I always invite people to trust in how they feel. I've connected with hundreds of people over the last year, coaching people one-on-one, and I've noticed that so many people have this deep and powerful intuition within themselves, but they don't trust it because they think that there's something wrong with them when they're doing so. It's like, oh, I'm in school right now and I feel anxiety when I do this, but then when I don't do school and I do meditation and I follow my heart and I do things that are passionate, the things that I find passionate, they think there's something wrong with them when they feel anxiety in school. Like, oh, what's wrong with me? Why do I feel so much anxiety talking to this person? Why do I feel so much anxiety doing school? Because your feelings are literally telling you whether you're in alignment or not. It sounds ridiculous. It sounds like, no, Francis, that can't be true. Your feelings don't matter. Yes, they do. So the first thing you can do is feel into your body. Okay, feel into your body. Now, the second thing you can understand when it comes to how to trust your intuition, even when society doesn't want you to, is understand that most people in society are not living their own life. Most people in society are not living a life that is in alignment with their hearts. More than 90%, well, I don't want to put a number on it, but a majority of people in society don't live a life that is completely in alignment with their hearts. So most people are not living that life that they really want to be living. And so when you decide that you want to live a life that you really want to live, what's going to happen, whether society is doing it consciously with intention, or maybe just unconsciously they're looking out for you out of love, but really they're living in fear, is they're going to try to go against you. They're going to say, no, don't trust your intuition. That's not a good idea, because most of the times, trusting your intuition actually goes against what your own mind is saying. And guess where your own thoughts came from? The conditioning of society, conditioning from family. So you're tapping into something deeper than the way you've been conditioned and the way that the people around you have been conditioned, whether it's family, friends, or school, or whatever. So it's not about judging people or playing victim. It's just about understanding the very simple truth that, hey, most people are literally not living into their highest potential. So when people go against you, who cares? Seriously, who cares? If you're following your heart and somebody that's not following their heart goes against you, then you don't have to believe in their opinion. It doesn't have to define your life. What somebody wants for you does not have to define the life that you really want to live. But this is how most people live. Most people don't trust this is going to be really big. I want you to really tune in with what I'm about to say, because this is huge. This is one of the most powerful insights that I've had in my life. Most people don't follow their intuition. And they don't follow their intuition at such a deep level, that they keep going, like, you know how when you feel anxiety doing something? Imagine you keep going in that direction for your whole life. You keep going in the direction of your anxieties. You keep going in the direction of what doesn't feel good to you. You never trust your heart. You only listen to your mind. You only listen to the expectations of what people have, the expectations that people place upon you. You only listen to the logic and the realistic way to live life. You're literally living somebody else's life. You're going to end up living a life that's completely out of alignment with what your heart wants and what feels good to you. And guess what? This is how most people live. Most people are conditioned to completely go against how they feel. So this sounds simple, but you got to realize a lot of people wake up every single morning. They feel horrible in their bodies. They dread going to work. They dread, sometimes unfortunately, even the relationship that they're in. Sometimes unfortunately, even being around certain family members. They dread their life. But they never listen to their body. And then because there's a story playing in their heads telling them that this is normal and this is just the way that life is, right? That's just the way life is. They live somebody else's life and they're completely out of alignment. Now, I'm not here to judge anybody, but I'm just telling you the facts that this is how most people are in life right now. So how do you trust your intuition when society doesn't want you to? Remind yourself that most people are not following their hearts. And do you want to live that life? Who are you asking for advice from? If you ask somebody that's living a life that they hate, should I follow my heart? They are going to tell you no. So you want to go to the people that are following their hearts and ask them for advice. And you always want to remember that most people are not living a life that is in alignment with their hearts. So do not let their energy and their opinions affect you. Now, the third thing you can do to trust your intuition, even when society doesn't want you to, is to learn to sometimes ignore your mind. It's very simple. Your heart will tell you one thing, but your mind will tell you another thing. And so what we can do is literally learn to stop believing in our thoughts. This is where a lot of issues come from, is we believe in our thoughts. We're so sucked into our thoughts. We're so sucked into these thoughts that come in our minds that we believe that we are our thoughts. We believe that that's who we are. And then so what happens is that we never learn to trust how we feel. So what I really want you to understand is that if your heart is telling you one thing, right? Like if your heart, and when it sounds so cliche, like, oh, like follow your heart, like it's this fluffy dovey thing. No, how do you feel in your body? If you're waking up and you feel horrible, but your mind is saying that you need to be here, what if you were I'm gonna ask you just a question. What if you were to ignore what the mind said and just follow how you felt? What would happen? Maybe things would be chaotic for a little bit, because here's the thing. I'm not saying that things are just gonna work out perfectly right away. The universe will test you. The universe will literally test you. When I dropped out of school, when I cut off negative relationships, when I did things that family said I shouldn't do, there was chaos that unfolded. There was things breaking apart because you're going against the status quo. But then I learned to ignore my mind. I learned to ignore the fears that came up. I learned to not push it away and ignore it in the sense of I'm resisting it, but just see it and choose not to give it attention. Because when we can learn to not give our thoughts the attention that they crave, you're not feeding into the fear anymore. You're not feeding into the unconscious fears that we have in our minds. The mind wants that attention from you. It wants to suck you into its story. It wants to tell you that if you follow your heart, these things are going to happen. You're going to be homeless. It's like if you actually take a step back and look at what your mind is saying, you could start laughing. You can literally find humor in the fears that people have. I'm not saying that from a place of judgment, but it's like once you get really good at observing your thoughts and not trusting in the mind so much, you could actually have a thought that is an objection that's going against your intuition, and you could just start laughing. You could just you could see a fear that your mind is telling you in terms of why you shouldn't follow your intuition, and you might literally start laughing. If you start laughing at the stories in your mind when it comes to the things that your mind is saying and why you shouldn't follow your intuition, you're definitely on the right path, because you can start to find humor in the way that we are conditioned. And that's when you know you're about to level up in life, because you can learn to not believe in your thoughts so much. All anxiety, all suffering, all fear comes from a belief in thoughts. Stop believing in your thoughts. Don't believe in what the mind is saying, and you'll actually watch that you'll start to trust your intuition more. You'll start to realize that your intuition, especially if you're an empath, your intuition is not this fluffy, dovey, intangible thing. Your intuition is one of the most tangible tools you have that if you learn to trust will literally lead to the highest vibrational life that you can live. Because if you don't feel good, you already lost the game of life. Why are you here? Why are you here? Are you here to feel bad? Are you here to not feel good? I choose to live past survival, because this is why we trust in our minds, to survive, right? It's like we need to make money, we need to survive, we need to take care of ourselves. All true. But are you here to just survive? Or are you here to thrive? If you're here to thrive and you're here to live a life of abundance, you're here to live a life that is truly in alignment with your heart, what you can do is you can actually learn to ignore the thoughts. Not from a space of pushing them away and suppressing them, but actually seeing them and just not giving them attention. Laugh at your thoughts. Find humor in your fears. Most people are scared. It's like, oh, I'm going to be homeless. Like, some people are in actually serious survival situations. So in that case, maybe a little bit of logic is good. I'm not bashing logic and saying that you don't need to use your mind to survive. But most people in society, most people, not everybody, most people, their survival needs are good. Like, you'll be okay. If you're watching this video, you're probably going to be just fine. You'll be completely good if you follow your heart. Now, I can't tell you what to do. I'm not guaranteeing that. But in my experience, when I follow my heart, things just work out. Maybe not right away. Sometimes it takes time for things to align. But the point is, we're not here to just survive. We're here to step into a higher state of consciousness where we can actually feel good on a consistent basis. I want to conclude the video with this. A life where you actually feel good is genuinely something that's realistic. Your dream life is not this out of reach thing that you're never going to get. You can genuinely and realistically feel good on a consistent basis and create a life from that. And your intuition is uniquely guiding you. The deeper universal intelligence within you has a specific path for you to follow. And so the more that you can learn to trust that, the more that you will live a life that is more in alignment with your heart. And the more that you can learn to trust that, the more that you're actually going to live a life of abundance. And you'll see that things start to click. Things start to happen where they wouldn't have happened had you not actually trusted your heart. So that's all I have for this video. Once again, if you want to work with me one-on-one personally, hit the link that's in the description box of this video to apply for a free consultation. And as always, have yourself a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.